to take my son to therapy, and it took a little bit longer. Let's see. It looks like it's going live. I'm not sure if it's there yet. All right, I think it's there. All right.
But
Yep,
I
it's there.
needed to take my son.
Okay. All right. So, all right. Now that I know that we're live, all right. Welcome to this week's training. We are going to be talking about lead magnets, and there's so much talk about lead magnets and why we need them and which ones are the best ones, all of that good stuff. So I thought I'd break that down a little bit for you today. So to get started, what is a lead magnet? A lead magnet is like a lead is someone that's coming into your business. A magnet is something that draws them into you. So basically, a lead magnet is something that you have in your business that is going to draw people in to your business, and in particularly into your particular sales funnel. So everyone has going to have their own different kind of sales funnel for them and for their business and their industry, because it is all a little bit different and personal depending on what you do and what kind of services and offers you provide, right? If you are going to be having one-on-one high ticket coaching, that is going to require a certain amount of level of comfort before people are willing to sign up with you, right? But if you have like a $27 course online that you sell, then you probably don't need a bunch of high touch like ways in which people can see you, right, and get to know you, then say for that high ticket offer, right? Because someone will give up $27 if the course seems like it's the right course for them. But so really, like, that is going to be more on like advertising and getting new people who do not know what you do into your program, because if you have a lower price product, you have to have lots of eyeballs on your company in order to make substantial money. If you have higher ticket products, then you need less people to make the same amount of money. Like, just say this program is $1,000 and you're selling a product for $100, you have to get one person to sign up or 10 people to sign up to make the same amount of money, right? So depending on what your business is and your offer is, it really is going to depend on the amount of numbers that you need to come in. Now, this is where lead magnets come into play. So if you have a hands-off, like a online course kind of solution being provided, then a lot of what your lead magnets are going to be free, which, oh, by the way, most lead magnets are free. They don't all have to be free, but most of them are going to be free, especially when I'm talking about it today. I will most likely be talking about free, and if I'm not, I will point it out to you. So for a smaller, low price product, you are going to need a lot of advertising and cold leads to bring you in there, because it is a more or less a one-time consumable product. You will have to have other products in order to keep them engaged in purchasing into your other things. You can also look at an online course as your lead magnet. So some people actually do that, right? So some people have a higher ticket product, but they create a low end course that gets people used to working with them. So then they'll want to enroll and engage into their higher ticket program. So that is a situation where your lead magnet doesn't always have to be free. It could be a very, as I just said, a very low cost course, maybe even like a $7 course or a $10 course. Now, I know that some of you that are watching, you guys are healers, and, your client audience is a little bit different than, say, me, who's looking just for someone, not just, or I'm looking for someone who needs business, right? So that is what I'm working on. I'm working on marketing. So the way I'm going to attract people is going to be very different than, say, with my intimacy coaching, where I do have people that are going to have to be doing some work when they're in my program. So it's just a different kind of avenues that you're going to want to do. Now, and it also depends on what your business is like right now. If you're new and you're just getting going, you can try a bunch of things to see what works. But if you already have an established practice and you are working with a bunch of clients right now and you don't have a lot of time to spend out there hustling, trying to get people into, say, a Facebook group and going live on a Facebook group every week and, doing all the social media aspects and running the ads to get them into your group. There's a lot of work that goes into certain kinds of methods, and there's nothing wrong with them. It just depends on you and your business. And so, really what you want to try to do is think about when it comes to your lead magnets. Hopefully for your offer, you know what the point A is and the point B is for your clients. Like, for them to start, they need to be at a certain level, whatever that is, right? And then you're going to take them over to point B. A lot of times, what works really effectively is to provide a lead magnet that helps them get to that point A, or maybe even a little bit on their journey. And then once they're a little bit farther, towards step B, they realize that they need more help and assistance. And that's when they want to get into your program. So it's not that you are providing necessarily anything new. It can even be parts that, things that are a part of your program. Because what most people, I'm talking right now like about a program or an offer, right? So whether it's a one-to-one or even or a group, and I'm not necessarily talking about DIY right now, but really where there's some sort of hands-on from you as the healer, what most people have issues with is the consistency, right? So you can give out some really good information and get people used to knowing who you are and what it's like to work with you. You can give out free classes, which work really well, especially, if what your program entails is consistency and showing up. It's not just learning one technique and then you're on your way. Then, showing what it's like to be working with you every week for free is going to make it easier for people to say, you know what, I need to go deeper into this. I really need to make the changes that your offer is helping them to make. So that is a really good component for lead magnets. And then you want to be able to, they can be live classes or they can be recorded classes. So there's benefits to both. During a live class, obviously you get the energy of everyone's there, but when you're doing consistent live classes, you have to show up all the time and you're always having to bring people into that. If you have a recorded class, you can have it for free, or you can even have it for low cost, whatever makes sense for you and what your audience is and your what your current list is. Like if you have a bunch of people that would be willing to sign up for, say, a $10 class that they can watch, for the next month or the next week or whatever your deal is, then that might be better for you to have that be a charge. But if you're really trying to get to new people who are getting to know you, then having things for free is really what brings people in. And we do this all the time subconsciously, right? We watch a YouTube channel and we get the free content from a YouTube channel, or we engage with people in a Facebook group. That's all free content that you're getting and advice. Maybe it's on a page, maybe it's through Instagram, Twitter, right? Like all of the social platforms, we engage with people to be able to we engage with people to get information from them, and then other people are engaging with us to get information from us. And it's a numbers game. All hands down, whatever it is that you do, it's always going to be a numbers game. So the more interactions you are able to get with people, and maybe I should clarify that, the more targeted interactions you can get with people, the higher chance that you're going to get more people into your offer, whatever that is. So, for example, if you're going to be doing ads, there's different kinds of ads. You can do retargeting ads, or you can do cold ads. Like Facebook is really good about bringing in people that they think would like what you are offering. And so they have fine-tuned their algorithm. So if you are a yoga teacher and you are teaching breathing, exercises, and someone has been on the Facebook platform and interacted and made a comment on someone's breathing exercise who was a yoga teacher, Facebook is then going to say, hey, this person is probably going to be interested in what you had to say because this is what they were already engaging with. So that's kind of how the algorithm works when it comes to getting new information. And as long as it's on the Facebook platform, there's no issues with it because, as you guys know, there's the privacy changes with iPhone. Android is going to be following, and the Google browsers, Android should be following this year. Google is supposed to be starting to roll everything out for even their browsers in 2022. So those different tracking, cookies that we would have to be able to see how people are engaging, what kind of ads they're watching, all of that stuff is kind of going away unless it stays on the same platform. So like when you're on Facebook, everything you do on Facebook, Facebook can track. But once you go off of Facebook, then you can't. So that actually ties into with your lead magnets. So if you know that you're going to be going into advertising, working in advertising, you're going to be creating ads to be able to have the advertising work for you and bring in more clients and cold clients, then you may want to, wherever you're going to be advertising, if you're going to be advertising on Instagram or you're going to be advertising on Facebook or Twitter, wherever, thinking about where you're going to be delivering your free content. If you can deliver that free content on that same platform, it's going to be more effective. And the reason why is if, say, for example, you are going to be doing the class, right, that we talked about. Say you're going to be doing a meditation exercise every Monday morning meditations, right? So every morning you're going to be doing Monday morning meditations. If you put those on Facebook and then you see the kinds of people that are interacting and engaging with Facebook is going to see who's engaging with your content of the people that you already know. They already have, when I say they, it's not like one person. Like the computers store the data and then the algorithm just basically looks to match up the data. So they're going to be matching up profiles that match up with the same people that have been engaging with your content. So then when you do the advertising, they're actually going to be able to direct that ad to those people that are most likely going to be engaging with your content, because for them it makes sense, right? If you're getting a bunch of ads, say you're retired and your kids have moved out of the house and you're getting a bunch of ads for like diapers and little kid stuff, that doesn't do Facebook any good because number one, you're not going to click on the ad, so they don't get any revenue from that. And number two, it doesn't serve you, right? They would rather serve you ads of stuff that are actually relevant to you that eventually you would, ideally purchase and, then get money back to Facebook. But that's how it works. But it's also good for you too. So that way you're not getting a bunch of ads that are not targeted to what your interests are. So with your leads, now thinking back to the lead magnets, if your lead magnet is something that resides, on YouTube, say it's a YouTube video, and you embed that into, Facebook, then what happens soon as they go off of that, over to YouTube, is able to collect the data, but Facebook is going to no longer be able to collect that data. They won't know if they actually liked the video, they watched the video all the way through. So Facebook doesn't know if it was good content for the people. So that's why knowing where you're going to want to advertise and do your focus is going to be important to creating your free content. Okay. So that is in particular, like if you're going to be doing live streams of any sort, use the platform that you're going to be advertising on. That is going to be your best bet. So if you're trying to grow your YouTube channel, obviously do a live to YouTube. Now you can use, different applications out there. Like right now, I am streaming to YouTube and to 2 Facebook groups. And that is because I'm using software that allows me to do that. So if you do that, lives like that, just make sure you utilize that so you can capture the benefits of doing that. So then this takes us back to like some of the other typical lead magnets that you talk about. So I think it's also easy to overlook some things that are actually really good and easy for healers to be able to provide. And maybe there are things that you're you're doing already. And in fact, your lead magnets probably should be things that you're doing already, because that is really what's going to be easier for you, because clearly if you're doing them, there is an element of them that you like. Unless you're doing them every single week and you just like hate doing it and you're just doing it because you feel like you have to, then that's a different issue. But for example, I know some people have, take a lot of time to get some really thoughtful, Instagram posts and maybe with some videos into it. And as you know, Instagram is, even though everything lives on the feed, it's, very quick and it doesn't stay there forever and it doesn't show up in everybody's content unless you're starting to share it, right? But what you could do then as a lead magnet is actually create a, your best, like maybe you've done 5, posts already related to a certain topic. You can bundle them together. You can copy and paste them, put them into a document, and then have that be your lead magnet. And it won't take you much work, right? Or you can have it link over to your Instagram if that is the platform that you prefer, and you do a bunch of lives because you want to have more people engaged. Or if you have a checklist. So checklists, some people love them, some people hate them, and it will depend on your clients, right? So if your program is going to require people to say do daily things, right? You're going to want them to have, a certain practice that they're going to be doing every day. Maybe having a checklist is actually a good thing. You can even tell them on the checklist what they're supposed to do. Maybe this is part of the checklist that you use actually in your group, and that you have them check off every single day. And if they don't know how to do the things on the checklist, then that is an opportunity for you to step in and be able to show them how your group is going to help them, create a daily practice, and they'll be able to check off everything on their checklist. And then ebooks used to be like the rage, but most people, the statistics on them right now they've gone down a lot. So for the most part, people will download the ebooks, but they never actually read them, or they don't even ever bother downloading them, and they just kind of, oh yeah, maybe I don't want this, right? So there's a lot, the ebooks definitely are on their way out, but it's not to say for certain that they're not a good thing. Like if you have a bunch of recipes, right, that you have, maybe on your Instagram you post some food things occasionally, you've got some really good recipes that are complementary to what your program is. Like if you have a wellness program and you are, also helping people create a healthy food plan, and then putting together, your 5 best recipes for a busy Friday night, right? Like that's a really useful download, but it doesn't necessarily, it won't necessarily translate into new sales. So what you want to try to think about, though, remember, is really like what are the key elements that are going to get them to be at the starting point of your program. So, but maybe those recipes are the starting point. Maybe you need them already to be in the habit of eating healthy, so that way they can make bigger changes. So it's just a matter of what your offer is, what your program is, and how the people that you are going to be engaging with, what they need to get going. And then another thing, so we talked about the trainings, right? Like whether it's, doing it a Facebook Live or a recorded thing. I do suggest that if you do lives, that you download them and then you upload them either to YouTube privately, or use like Bunny CDN or Amazon S3, something like that, and then you have them somewhere available on your website, because then people can log in. They can only access it once they log in and get your content there. It does a couple things. Number one, it tells Google that you have a relevant website, because if someone is watching a video on your website rather than watching it straight through YouTube, they are staying on your website for a longer period of time. And so this free, this lead magnet that you are providing, like say a meditation or a quick breathing exercise or a yoga move, right? Whatever it is, even though it may actually be coming from YouTube, having it be on your website is going to do both. It's going to like boost your YouTube, and then it's also going to boost your Google Google ranking. And then the third thing that it's going to do is that because it resides on your website, it's going to have your logo and your colors and probably a picture of you. And, if it's a guided thing, it's going to have your voice or you, in video. And it's going to help people be reminded of who you are and what it's like to work with you. So those kinds of things are really the best kinds of lead magnets in order to get someone into your program if that is your kind of program. So as I said, I'm talking primarily to my healers, therapists, and coaches that have a program where that people will be working with you either one-on-one or in a group setting, because you want to get them comfortable and knowing you and liking you and trusting you, so that way they'll want to actually purchase your product. As I said too, having it on your website is really important for Google ranking, but then also because you capture their email. If you do something for free on Facebook, there are benefits of that, because say you have it on a Facebook page, it can be shown in front of a bunch of people that you've never seen that have never seen you before, right? And especially if you pair it with advertising, that's always a good thing. But if it resides there, the problem with Facebook is that it isn't someone's email address. And so you have other than Facebook, you have no other way to contact them. And, things happen sometimes. Like I know a lot of people who've had their accounts suspended because whether they got hacked, someone got their password, or they did an advertisement that went against the community guidelines, or they posted something that later became against the community guidelines. There's a lot of reasons why someone's social media account can, to no fault of their own, they could be locked out of your social media account. And if that does happen, or what if something happens and Facebook just goes away and your whole business is built on there? If you haven't been capturing those emails through your lead magnet, your business is in Facebook's hand, right? And so I'm not saying Facebook is bad. And in fact, Facebook is still probably, and even with these changes going on, it's still probably going to be the best, easiest, quickest way to grow a business. And especially because their advertising really is quite ingenious on how it helps you build and grow your customers. So, I'm not saying get rid of Facebook, right? But just have a plan for it, right? Because, if your program is something where it requires people to actually put in effort and work with you, then you want to provide a lead magnet that actually requires people to put in effort to do it. Because once they're doing something and they're in action, then they're going to be more apt to stay in action. And because even these checklists, they are good things to do, because if someone's using the checklist and they're looking at it, whether it's just for that day or daily, even just having pretty, if you like doing graphics and designs, or maybe you have some form of creative artistry, that, creating really pretty graphical quotes that end up in their mailbox every single Monday, like maybe Motivation Monday, you have this really beautiful piece and and you set it up for the size of your phone screen, so that way they can put it as their backdrop on their phone, so that way they have this motivation for the week, right? There's so many ways so many things that you could do, but the biggest thing is that they have to be fun and they have to be related to what your final offer is, because at the end of the day, the whole point is to kind of pre-qualify people so you spend less time on the sales calls, right? Depending on your business. You can, if you have a lot of time and sales calls are good for you, by 100% means go do as many sales calls as you can, because it's going to be easier if you can get on the phone with someone and talk about your program, because you can answer their questions directly and they'll be able to feel more comfortable in getting into whatever your program is. However, if you are busy already in your delivering of your value, whether you're a therapist or a yoga instructor and you have classes or whatever it is, right? Chances are you're already working with clients and you have to continue to work with those clients. So sometimes some of these other marketing efforts that are very good and work really well may not work for you, because you don't have the time to be able to devote to bringing in all of those getting onto all of those sales calls to be able to get people into your program. And this is where me as a website developer is going to jump in and tell you that if you can have a sales page or landing page that is really, really thorough, it answers all of the questions that most of the time that you're going to be coming up against, right? If you think about what the conversations you've had with people when you've had a sales call, if you recorded any of them, you can go back and look and what questions did they ask and make sure that's on your sales page. What things were they concerned with? Did they need to know like how the program was going to work? If you have all of this on a sales page and a landing page, by the time they actually start to go to that sales call with you, so many of their questions are going to be answered. And some people, and hopefully you design it in a way where some people, if not most people, will just sign up directly, from your sales page. Unless you have a program that really requires a filtering of who is going to be in that program with you, then you're definitely going to still want all of that information on your website, so that way you can get most of the questions answered by themselves, right? When they're doing the research, and then you can step in and kind of finish off that sales call and get them enrolled into your program. So let me check over in. Oh, I did the wrong thing. Let me check over in the group and see if themselves, right, when they're doing the research, and then you can step in. Okay, no questions there. Oh wait, there's the mute. I was trying to find the mute on the Facebook. All right.